This is the plaintiff, Antonino Coelho. He says he purchased a motorcycle from the defendant, and the thing died after 70 miles of use. He found out the defendant used glue on the carburetor to cover a defect. The guy didn't let him know at the time of the sale that the thing had pre-existing mechanical problems, and he's here suing for the $2,827.20 he has now spent in repairs. This is the defendant, Efren Gabriel Algurin. He says he sold the motorcycle to the plaintiff in the fall of 2021. And then 10 months later, the guy starts complaining about the bike not running right. He told him he never had any problems with it when he had it. He doesn't understand how he could possibly be responsible for repairing the thing 10 months after he sold it. And he thinks the judge will agree. He's accused of a cover-up. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $5,000 for defamation and harassment.
All parties, please raise your right hand. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milianto presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Coelho, what happened?
Your Honor, in December, I think about 12 or 13, 2021, I saw online a bike, and I liked it because I had a bike at home, but it was one of those bikes for kids, you know, even so I didn't drove it for about 3 years because it was not my style. So when I saw that one...
What kind of bike was it?
It was a Kawasaki 2003 Vulcan.
Okay.
I liked it, so I called the defendant, and I went to see the bike.
How much was he asking for it?
I'm sorry?
How much was it?
$4,500.
$4,500?
Yeah, he was asking $4,500.
Okay.
I went over, and he had a bike inside the garage, and he wouldn't start well. He said, well, it's because it's cold and all that.
If it didn't start well, why would you buy it?
It didn't start well, but after he started, and he said, well, it was because it was cold.
Okay.
So the bike started.
Did you have a mechanic look at it before you bought it?
No, I didn't.
Okay, go on.
No.
Even though you had this big hint where it didn't start well?
You know, usually I believe people, you know. And
Well, that's why you're a litigant.
yeah, I know.
That's silly. That's on you. Because when you're buying a used item, you know it's an as-is sale, right?
I know, Your Honor.
Okay.
I know.
Unless you can prove that there's something deceptive he did. So let's hear what you're saying here.
Okay. So I left, and I told him that actually I had to see another bike, which was not true. I didn't have to see another bike. I went home, and I was kind of, the day after, in the morning, he called me. He said, did you see the other bike? I said, no. Are you interested in the bike? And I said, well, I'll pass by later on today. And he told me the time. And I asked my girl, my lady, to go with me. And I said, well, I'm trying to make a deal. I'm going to put $35, he wanted cash. So I put $3,500.
So you were going to get $1,000 knocked off, like a fourth of the price almost. And so that's a pretty good deal. So you come to him, you offer him, this is what I've got, this is what I'll pay, and what does he say?
Yeah, and I put $3,500 on my lady's purse, and I went there. I asked him to go for a ride on the bicycle. And he didn't start well, but he had it outside. But after, I guess he was running for a while, and after the bike was okay.
Did you test drive it, or did he?
I did.
You did, okay. So how long were you test driving it?
About 15 minutes.
Okay, so you liked what you saw.
I liked it.
And then what happened? Did you buy it for the $3,500?
I came back.
When did you buy it for the $3,500?
I came back, and I said, listen, I'm going to give you $3,500 for it.
All right.
He said,
so
no.
you bought it that day, and that day was what day? December in 2021?
Yeah, December.
Okay, so when does the first problem arise?
May.
May. What happened between December and May?
Oh, it was in my garage. It was in the garage. It was.
You never test drove it again? The motorcycle you just bought and just test drove? You didn't ride it around?
No, it was cold.
Okay, so it was cold when you were test driving it. It didn't stop you? Bundle up. But you also didn't drive it in March or February or April.
No.
Okay, so in May you drive it, and what happens?
For 2 days. In the second day, I got stuck.
Okay.
The motorcycle went down.
Okay.
I took her home, and I sent them.
How did you get it home?
I pulled it. Actually, it was not far from my home when it went down, so I pulled her.
It went down?
Yeah, it wouldn't start.
A wouldn't start. So were you at home when it wouldn't start? Or were
No. I was getting almost home. close
You
to
were
home.
almost home and it stopped in the
Stopped.
middle of you driving it?
Yeah, it just stopped.
Okay.
And I would start, it wouldn't go. It wouldn't go.
Okay.
So I sent them a text message, and I told them, listen.
When do you get that text message?
First contact I had with him was June 1st at 4:01 p.m.
All right. So you send him a text, and what happens? What do you say?
He didn't reply.
Okay.
So I kept the vehicle there, and I was thinking, well, I have to fix the bike. So I start calling a few guys, and nobody actually wanted to fix the bike because it will take 3-4 months. Until I got a guy in Elizabeth, and the guy said, well, I'll pass by. So he came over with this truck, which is prepared actually to tow the bike. And he took the bike, so I said, I'll call you in a few days. So he called me, he said, you want to pass by? So I went there, and he said, listen, this bike is a mess. The motor has no pressure at all. So I'm going to have to open the bike and see what's wrong with it. But this, I think, I'll let you know, it's going to be a very expensive job. So he called me a few days after, and he said, listen, I cleaned the carburetor, and I advise you not to drive the bike. So you have a bill for $285. What do you want to do with it? And I said, well, open the motor and see what happened. And he said, listen, it's going to cost you up to $4,000. But I don't know, it could be less. So I left the bike there. I kept on texting, and actually I called his girlfriend. I thought it was his wife. And I passed by the house. And she told me a lot of negative things about him.
Had they broken up already?
Yeah.
Okay, go
A
ahead.
lot of bad things about him. She said, you know, I'm going to give you the phone number of his mother, his father, and his uncle.
Well, that's kind of jerky.
And
But go ahead.
I don't know if I sent a text to his uncle. I don't know, a text.
Did you text his uncle? Did you text his mother?
I'm not sure. Because I looked.
Hold on, I'm not talking to you yet.
I looked, I could not find it on my phone.
Okay.
Just looking for him.
Wait, well, what did you do? Did you text his relatives in order to complain about him? What did you do?
No, I just want to talk to him. I don't know, but I am not sure if I sent it because I could not find it.
Did you ever end up paying to fix a motorcycle?
Yes, I paid.
You ended up paying how much? $2,827.20?
No, Your Honor. The bill was actually $285 plus $2,700 something. And the guy wanted cash, so I made a deal with him, $2,800.
Okay, so, and that's what you're suing for here today because you feel that a bike that you bought from him 7 months earlier, 6 months earlier, he should have to pay for the repairs on it.
The bike was a mess, you know.
Right, yeah, I'm sure it was. But the question isn't, was the bike a mess? The question is, when you buy the bike, if you had spotted these problems the next day, why would he have to pay for them? Because you bought it as is. So in your complaint, you say there was glue hiding something on the motor, and he rolled back the mileage. Where did you get that from?
Was actually the guy that fixed the bike. Actually, you have a picture of two little broken things that actually were glued to hold up something there, so the bike would run. That's what he told me. The guy, you have something, two little things there. And besides that, Your Honor, it was not. He told me that actually he had the bike for a long time, and he had a bike not even for a year.
Which picture shows what you're trying to tell me? These are broken pieces of something. Where am I seeing glue or whatever else you said?
He said it was glued. That's what he said.
Okay. Do you have anything from the mechanic saying the things you're saying? Because that's
the first bill.
No, but his bill doesn't say what you're saying.
He said ties.
The bill says what he did. The bill doesn't say, oh, someone stuck glue in the motor and that affected this. The bill doesn't say someone rolled back the mileage. Where'd you get that?
That's what he told me.
Okay, so is any of that in writing anywhere?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, let me hear from you.
No, let me tell you something.
Hold on,
else.
let me hear from you.
Okay, Your Honor. The motorcycle, I actually purchased it in March of 2020. I rode it March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, all the way up until November. It was cold, but had a bunch of buddies that I ride with, so I was riding. During that time, me and my ex-girlfriend was a toxic relationship. We were going through stuff. So I needed the money for the motorcycle. The motorcycle drove from Linden, New Jersey to Cape May twice in that span. And the day he came to the house was December 12th at 2:11 p.m. And if you
2021.
Correct, 2021. If you could hear the motorcycle when I started it, because it didn't start because it didn't have gas. So I had a tank of gas in the car.
I don't really care because
Right,
apparently
but-
he didn't really care.
but
He
can I-
bought it anyway. So
can
if
I-
it's good enough for
can-
him, it's good enough for me.
Can I just demonstrate to you how
No,
it sounded?
I do not care. I know how
Okay.
motorcycles sound. What I
No
want to
problem.
know from you is this. Did you ever glue a motor? Did you know about a glued motor or glued pieces of the motor or glue? Did you know anything about glue in there?
No, Your Honor. I bought the
Okay.
motorcycle in Staten
And
Island
did you
and
ever did you ever roll back the mileage?
Your Honor, no. It's I did not do that. I'm the second, maybe the second or third owner for this motorcycle because I bought it as.
So how are you going to get him to pay $3,000 in repairs to your motorcycle if you can't prove that he did anything? You can't even prove that anything was done because you haven't even brought me anything from the mechanic saying the mileage was rolled back. That would be, see, here's the thing. When you buy a used item, it's as is. But you're also not allowed to lie. So if he lies and if he rolls back the mileage, that's deceptive. He's trying to fool you. Okay, so prove that. You have nothing that proves that, just you saying it. And if, if you feel like he did a repair to fool you so it would just work while you bought it, and that's what the glue you talked about mean, I have no idea. But if that's what you're trying to say, then prove that. You don't even have that with your mechanic. But so if you can't prove he rolled back mileage and you can't prove he glued something, what did he do wrong? He sold you something and you didn't bother to take it to a mechanic until 7 months later.
Your Honor, there was another thing. He said that actually the mileage were original on that motor. The motor actually bought at the junkyard because you can look at the motor, the picture, and there's a number there. It was bought at the junkyard, the motor. So it was not the real motor that actually was on the bike. He bought that motor junkyard.
How do you know he bought the motor and the guy before him didn't?
I don't know, Your Honor, but it's not
Did you buy
original.
a motor for that bike?
I needed the money, Your Honor. Why would I buy?
Did you
another
buy a
motor?
motor for the bike?
No, Your Honor.
And during any of the time? Okay. So now what?
Your
See, this
Honor.
is why you're supposed to have the used item looked at by a mechanic. So a mechanic can tell you, you know what, this is a bad investment. But what you want to do is not have the rules apply to you. Call a guy 7 months later and then tell him you got to pay for something you sold 7 months ago. And his answer to you is, this is an as-is sale, dude. No. And he's right. Now, you have a counterclaim against him for $5,000 for defamation of character and harassment. What are you talking about?
Well, Your Honor, I have numerous emails from him, text messages, as well as a very threatening voicemail that I would like to play.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me hear it.
Okay.
Holy friend, this is the guy that bought a motorcycle from you. You know, you don't answer. I just spoke to Patty, your ex-girlfriend, and she told me a lot of nice things about you. You're a crook, man. Listen, I know you're in Florida. Listen, you the wrong guy, man. Okay? I'm coming after you.
There's the
I'm in
voicemail, Your
court.
Honor.
Go,
and
just a
then-
second. Keep going.
And then here's the email that he sent to me. He dated it June 4th, but he sent it July 4th at 1:05 p.m. And also, Your Honor, I'll give you the text messages, dated and stamped, and then my response to them.
I am the guy that got screwed with the motorcycle that you sold. You knew it when you sold it to me. You bought it in May of 2021, and you fixed it with glue so the pistons would at least ride without problems for 50 miles. That's very specific. I just rode it last month for the first time. It was in the garage since I bought it from you. Well, I put 70 miles on it, used it twice, and still have a tank of gas in it. I spoke to Patty today. She told me all about you. Your place is in jail. A person like you should not be out with decent people. I have your cousin Angel's contact, your mom Carmen, and your father Ephraim. You will not get away with it. That does sound pretty threatening. You can be sure of that. I am not that kind of guy that gets screwed and lets it go. I want my money back. The motorcycle needs $4,000 to get fixed. This coming week, I will know all about you. I want my money back and you get the motorcycle. Very easy to solve. I am not Patricia, that's your ex, poor lady. Do you think you can screw people and get away with it? Very wrong. Then you write back. You say, listen, when I bought that bike, it was all good. I didn't lie to you. You bought the
bike as is.
Bike as is. So I have no reason to be upset about this. I feel sorry for you with the situation, but I have no control over what happened. The bike was not messed up. I didn't want to sell the bike. I had no reason. So he's trying to get his money back. He texts you and he writes you and he tells you you're dishonest, but that's not a defamation of character case or a harassment case that he's trying to get his money. And that's also not him ignoring you. He did answer you. You just don't like his answer. So on your countersuit against him, 0. But on your claim against him, also 0. It's your bike. You pay to fix it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, hold it right there, please.
So we've ended up with a 0-0 tie here in the People's Court. Nobody wins anything. Let's see what the plaintiff has to say now. He was suing for $2,800. Mr. Coelho, what's your response?
Well, so what can I say? I thought that actually when you sell something, you have your word on it. You make sure actually you don't mess up, the other person, You have to be truthful. And actually, I think the verdict was not actually what I was expecting, because he knew the bike was a mess, and he sold me the bike knowing that actually it was going to break down, because I believe the mechanic.
He didn't say that. He said exactly the opposite. He said it was fine and he didn't want to sell it. And by the way, it's a as-is sale. You bought it as is because you're kind of stuck with it.
I know, but it's very hard, to buy something, to trust some people. You weren't entitled to your opinion, of course, but he told me that actually the bike was good. It was not. I put 70 miles on it, and he broke down.
That's it. I'm sorry you don't get your money back from him, though. Okay?
I'm really sorry, too. Thank you very much.
All right, let's see what the defendant has to say. He was suing for $5,000 for defamation of character, but that did not hold here in court. Mr. Algurin, you heard the judge. That wasn't defamation of character. That was just some comments between the two of you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay?
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm happy with the outcome.
You are. Good enough. All right, sir. I guess you are. Yeah, you don't have to give your money back to him.
Yeah, I mean,
Good
I didn't want to sell the bike in the first place, I was getting over a toxic
Which told
relationship.
me.
I'm in a better place right now, so I missed the bike more than my ex, so I'm in a good place.
All right, Harvey, what's your reaction?
Okay, Doug, well, look, there was no proof here that the odometer was rolled back. This was an as-is sale. I will say this. If there was proof the odometer was rolled back, I think you could make a good case that this would be a sale based on fraud. That is, a material misrepresentation. And as a result of that, there is an exception to an as-is sale. If you can prove fraud, you can undo the deal and get a refund.
So, Marilyn, do you meddle in your daughter's relationships? If they date someone you don't approve of, do you tell them? You do.
I'm smarter than that, though.
Well, yeah, because it's the reaction, that's the difference between
I'm
you and me.
smarter than that.
You actually have this psychological
Machiavellian
thought process.
Yes.
And I just blurt the stuff out, and I'm always wrong, whatever the hell it is.
You can't, because with, well, now, they're in their 20s now, and they're older, and it's different, but
Right.
you just have to be very, very careful.
You're more calculating.
I'm calculated.
That's true.
So I will, like a therapist, I will say, how did that make you feel when they come to me? Because I don't want them to stop coming to me and telling me, and I'll say things like, well,
That's
you're too young for that, or do you think that that's okay? I'll just make them think about it so they come to the conclusion on their own. But honestly, my daughters have all picked well. I've never, I don't have boys, so the minute a boy starts hanging out at my house, I'm so excited. They play rough with Sammy, they lift heavy things, they help you. I'm just so excited to have a boy in my house that I love them all.
Well, you got a boy in your house.
Well, I mean, one that'll get up and do things.
when they're supposed to.
One who doesn't say, I got my best guy on it, and keep reading,
What I'm drawing from this, though, in our relationship with daughters is I just come right out with whatever it is. You're kind of manipulative.
Well,
devious.
I also don't think, I think you're a nice guy and you don't come out with anything. I don't think that you really have ever said to the kids, I don't like that guy. That's never happened. You think?
I've said that about things that the guys have done that I didn't like.
Yes, that's definitely true.
Yeah, you're right.
That's definitely true.
I haven't said, that guy's a so-and-so.
No, you would never say that. But yes, I am Machiavellian. Yes, I'm completely
guilty as charged.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Somebody's got to keep them all on the straight and narrow.
Exactly, and that's you.
Yeah.